Hey, Julia.
Hello.
Hey,
It's so awesome to see you.
you too. You too. Good to see you again. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you doing?
Doing very good. Very, very good. I got my little cucumber here and got a little bit of water, and I'm chilling. I see your rebounder in the back. Ooh, that looks
Oh,
fun.
yes.
Yeah, that looks like a good one.
I just had a nice rebounding session actually before this live
Oh,
to get me
perfect.
pumped up.
I love it. I love it. I'll admit I've been sitting here for an hour and 40 minutes, so I'm not quite as fresh, but I can just get a little bit of a shake on, and I have my little snoo cat here who's bringing me a lot of love and comfort as well. So I'm doing good.
Amazing. Amazing. That's so
So,
awesome.
so this is a big topic. I mean, you go around, you go outside into the grocery stores or wherever, and there's always books on, slimming down, and there's, endless magazines, offering promises, this and that, and a lot of them just seem to be on a repeat cycle, either poor information or information that people have a really hard time sticking to. Um, can we start by first you sharing a little bit about yourself, because maybe people haven't seen our last interview or other ones I've done with you, a little bit about yourself and what brought you to this topic.
Mm. Yeah, thank you for sharing, for asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all started actually when I was still quite young. So I was interested in nutrition because I had two vegetarian friends who
Mhm.
kind of brought that into my life, and we were cooking together. And I first found out how good it feels when you eat well and you nourish your body with like vibrant living
Yeah.
foods. And yeah, then however, I got kind of sucked into that diet culture, YouTube world as well, where there's a lot of calorie restriction, high intensity training, and all of that. So I feel like I kind of got a little bit into the extreme side of pushing myself too hard. And then over time, I found that a much more gentle approach suits my personality and suits me much better. And it was a little bit of a roller coaster in the beginning because when I found raw food, that also kind of seemed a little bit restrictive in the
Yeah.
beginning. But over time, I learned to really see this as a lifestyle of abundance. And nowadays, I'm so grateful that I found it because it has helped me to find like my ideal weight while also being able to eat abundantly and my favorite foods every day. And I also really was able to enjoy fitness a lot more because I'm always carved up, and I'm sure you can relate when you're carved up. Fitness becomes so much fun, so effortless, and you want to move because you just feel so good.
Absolutely. No, I can
Yeah.
100% resonate. And it sounds like you tried a lot of things that required lots of discipline and forcing, and
Yeah.
that wasn't really fitting you as well, hey?
Yeah, that's not really my kind of vibe, I
Yeah.
prefer to go with the joy of life. So once I realized I can do that as well and still get the results, whether that's health wise, physical wise, and also just weight loss wise, then I really started to understand, yeah, I can do it.
And have you seen this pattern with a lot of people? Is this something that others are relating to that you've met along the road and started applying this lifestyle or otherwise or on other lifestyles?
Yeah, I definitely feel like a lot of people have a limiting belief that you can only lose weight by pushing yourself and by doing things that are hard and not
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
enjoyable. And I think the magic really happens when we understand that when we create our dream body from within and really from a place of love, of wanting to feel good, and also understanding that we don't have to change, like we're also acceptable and lovable
Mhm.
just the way we are. However, we do want to feel amazing, right? Like life wants to be experienced fully, and also the joys of it, feeling light, feeling easeful in the body. So yeah, definitely, I feel like that switch is so powerful, and I would say even necessary if you want the long-term results.
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely. I hear you talking about whys and coming back to self and it can make just an absolute difference, right?
yeah. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, like having a why power, I like to call it, is so important because when we know why we're doing it, then from there, the action just comes through us. Like we don't even need to do anything because we get these subtle, small voices telling us, hey, do this thing, go there, go there. But before that, like we need to actually identify like what is it that we want and why do we want it. Like
Mhm.
losing weight or looking better, I feel like isn't enough. Like what
Mhm.
is that leaner and slimmer body going to allow us to do? Like
Yeah.
what can we maybe create otherwise, like maybe financially or in a romantic relationship? Not that it's necessary to release weight in order to attract your soulmate.
Mhm.
But of course, if we feel more attractive, then not just because of the way we look, but also because we put high vibrational foods inside our body, then
Mhm.
it's going to become much easier to, yeah, attract.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And do you find like, or have you found that your whys, the reasons why you've done this have changed over the years?
Yeah, for sure. Like in the beginning, it was all about like I felt like I wasn't good enough yet, and I needed to complete myself, and I needed to become whole and become good enough.
Hmm.
And over time, I realized that with that kind of why, it is nearly impossible to make these changes and to actually step into a place where I just do these things naturally,
Yeah.
which eventually I think is important to come to. Of course, in the very beginning, when you're changing things up, when you're changing your diet, your behavior, your fitness routine, of course, it's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable because it's different, it's
Yeah.
something new for your body. So, in the beginning, that will be the case. But then, once the routine is dialed in, then it can really become effortless when we have the like right I don't want to call it, but like a motivation that really makes it very easy. So yeah, over time for me it became a lot more about just experiencing life fully,
Yeah.
because something that I have also realized is that when I use food as a way to cope and also to not feel my emotions,
Mhm.
then I'm also not experiencing all the positivity in life. And I'm not really able to actually release maybe what is no longer serving me, the negativity in the body, because it's all suppressed. So in the beginning, it did definitely feel not so comfortable.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's so important to really go slow.
Mhm.
But over time, when all these things started coming up, I was able to release a lot of them. And now I feel like I can just feel everything more intensely, which of course can be a disadvantage sometimes. And I recently made a video about that as well, like the uncomfortable truth about eating a raw vegan
Yeah.
diet. And I definitely feel like being so sensitive in this modern world can be a challenge because we still need to make money, we need to pay
Mhm.
our rent, we need to interact with other people who maybe aren't on the same kind of lifestyle or on the same kind of wavelength. So I definitely feel like when we but still, when we have the courage to do that, then we're also just able to experience so, because we live on a beautiful planet and there's so much beauty around as well. And we're going to be able to perceive that because we're no longer suppressing it. And we're also no longer suppressing the powerful life force inside of us. So we can create much more easily in life. So that's also something I really, really love about it. So that's kind of my whys nowadays.
Yeah.
Just
That's
to be able to
beautiful. That's
experience
beautiful. I
it.
mean, it sounds like, you started from a place of feeling like you had to do this almost, and that it's really shifted. And can you kind of spell out what that shift is, coming from a place of how, or rather of having to do this to now why you do it? Like,
Um, what do you mean? Can you ask again?
yeah,
Like,
apologies.
that's okay.
It sounded like originally it was coming from a place like you feel like you had to do this because you felt, less than, or like you needed this in order to become who you want to be. Why do you maintain it now? Like, what is the motivation in the now to do it?
Yeah, because I fell in love with it. Like, it feels
Yeah.
good to be free. And of course, sometimes I'm like, it sucks to be so sensitive, right? Like, to, yeah, to just absorb everything in your environment. Like, even smell, like, you can smell everything because your nose becomes so sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure you can relate to that as well.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't want to change it for anything because actually being able to feel things, it feels good. And then also like just experiencing a new level of physical health. Yeah, it's just so wonderful because you can do so much more, you can get more things done, and you can create more in this world of form. So I have big goals for my life. I have a huge vision
Mhm.
of things that I want to create, and this lifestyle, and also being slim and fit really allows me to do all of that. So nowadays, that's my why. Also, really having a huge desire of wanting to create impact in this world and changing people's lives for the better.
Beautiful.
So.
That's beautiful. Absolutely. And I know this talk is about putting an end to overeating and shedding pounds, but it sounds like you also shed a lot more than just pounds.
Yeah, it's almost like a snake. You're
Yeah.
shedding so many skins, or like a lot of people also like to refer to it like an onion, like every time you peel a new layer off. And I think it's not about having shed everything. It's just the process of life is just shedding
Yeah.
and renewing, just like our cells are renewing in every second. We are renewing in every second and really going along with that change. Like personally, I could never imagine like doing the exact same thing for the rest of my life, and feeling the exact same way for the rest of my life. I think, yeah, change is so beautiful and so important.
I absolutely agree. I mean, a lot of people find themselves in that kind of humdrum of the exact same thing, especially in years past. But nowadays, it seems that people are more apt to change and more desiring change. And we also have so much opportunity. We're in a very blessed time, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Like back in the days, things were a lot different. Like you were a lot more restricted. And now with the online world, we have definitely so many opportunities, which of course, I think it's like very ambivalent because on the one side, being so much online, of course, isn't the most positive, um, because it brings us away from like the real world, and connecting with people in real life. And on the other hand, we are able to create this like connection with all the people who want to lift their consciousness, lift the veil, and really awaken, whether that is really spiritually or also through, really creating that next level of vitality, vibrancy, and just becoming more glowing from the inside out. And back in the days, we wouldn't have been able to find a way to connect. We would all be lone wolves, and maybe we wouldn't even be able to maintain all of that because we would constantly get distracted from the outside that's maybe different. So I think that's also why the bundle is so great, because we're all coming together collectively and we're spreading this huge wave of vitality, health, and yeah, I think it's really
Oh,
awesome. So,
well, blessed you feel so. I feel so, of course, too. And it's so good to come together with you and everyone to do that because this lifestyle is too good to do by yourself, right? It's something to be shared. It's
yeah.
something to be shared. So into this topic, how to stop overeating. Let's just start there, putting an end to overeating. What does that mean to you? And, like looking at diet culture and, all the different kind of aspects. Um, what were your difficulties with overeating and how did you eventually come to a place where you could end overeating?
Mm. I
And
think the two main ones were for me personally diet culture, as you mentioned, like
Mhm.
being in a cycle of restriction and under eating and not being in that balanced state of consistently eating a meal and then using the energy and then eating a meal and using that energy, but instead depleting myself way too much, where at one point the boiling pot just boils over and it explodes, and then you have the desire to eat more than you need because your body can only do this for so long.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that was a big one for me. And when I kind of cracked that code,
Mhm.
it was a lot easier. Now I just have a very consistent eating routine. And of course, sometimes it fluctuates when I have different things going on. But I would say I have pretty consistent three, very big
Mhm.
meals. And those three big meals always keep me satiated and I know how much I need. So it's kind of really easy to have that consistent, streamlined energy coming in and therefore not really needing to go overboard at any point, unless I'm like really physically active. But then I'm also understanding that my body obviously needs it. So yeah, that has been hugely beneficial for me. But then I think the reason why I was in that diet culture was a lot deeper than just me not eating and restricting. But that was circling back to the thing about not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy of love, which I think food, especially food, is a form of love.
Mhm.
So not feeling worthy of love, not feeling worthy of abundance, and then um, also shifting my perspective and understanding that, yeah, we live on this beautiful planet with so much abundance, with so much opportunity, and I deserve all the goodness in the world. So yeah,
Absolutely.
then also I think then I saw the proof as well by connecting with so many people online, so many examples who do eat abundantly, who don't do all these crazy restrictive diet culture things, but eat like huge portions and still are really, really lean,
Mhm.
vibrant, and healthy. And then just surrounding myself with these visuals all the time, also going to food festivals in real life, seeing it,
Mhm.
and then understanding, okay, I can do that too if so many others can do it. So just finding proof that it's not true. Like we do not need to restrict. We can absolutely be in that abundance mindset, and it'll come effortlessly from
I
there.
love it. I love it. Now, some people might see meals you eat, or definitely people see meals I eat and they think that I'm overeating. They might think you're overeating. What to you is this difference between overeating and abundance? Because I've heard some people say like eat unlimited fruit, and maybe what is your thoughts kind of around those things, differences between overeating, abundance, unlimited? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think unlimited for me is when you go overboard because you maybe haven't been like in that abundance mentality. Like it's a little bit less balanced because unlimited means like there is no limit.
Mm.
But abundance is more like it's just the perfect amount. I think there's a story, I think, from one raw vegan kid, I think Anne Osborne, and
Mhm.
she once shared that her son was eating a bowl of grapes, a
Mhm.
huge bowl, and then there was like 4 grapes left or something. And then she asked him, "Hey, why did you eat those 4 grapes?" Maybe you heard the story before, because
No,
he
no, I haven't. I haven't. I love it though. I know Cappy, so
he left 4 bowls in this huge 4 grapes in this huge bowl of grapes left.
yeah.
And then he just said, I was perfectly satisfied. And he grew up on raw food, so he obviously probably was very in tune, because I do also think when we don't consume so much food that is designed for us, where the calorie density is in a very positive, optimal range, then of course we get a little bit out of tune with our hunger and fullness cues, and realigning those hunger and fullness cues is so key, because then when we consistently know, okay, we can trust our body, we can listen to those, like when we are feeling full, we can just say, okay, I'm done. And yeah, I always think about that story, and I love it so much because it really reminds me that there is always enough. Like if I leave 4 grapes because I'm perfectly full, why would I eat them if after that I feel stuffed? Of course, it's not that black and white, because obviously like 4 grapes aren't gonna make that big of a difference. But if you're really like genuinely full, then it
Yeah.
can make a difference in how you feel, and just finding that edge, I think, is what it's all about for me. How about you?
Yeah,
How do
no,
you
I, I
feel?
I feel very much the same, and I also think that the difference between say overeating and abundance can also be related to emotional aspects and emotional eating, and kind of back to the whys. Does that ring true to you? And if so, is there anything around that connects?
Yeah, so you mean that when you feel not so good emotionally, then you feel more drawn to overeating, or what exactly is it?
Yeah, I think so. I think like in a state of gratitude with abundance, it's like, being a little more present and enjoying abundantly, whereas overeating often to me seems like it's distracted and emotional.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like when we're maybe not as connected to ourselves and also to the food that we're eating. So something that I don't do always, but it really helps me when I feel like I'm having a busy day and there are a lot of things going on, to just, before I start eating, just take like 3 breaths and say thank you for the food as well, and also visualize visualize who maybe might have picked the food, who grew it, how it came to my table, who transported, how many people gave their loving service to me, basically, so that I can have the meal. And then from that place, when we understand how much went into it, how much love is in this meal, then it's much more easy to be grateful for it. And that gratitude, again, helps us to become very present with it, as you mentioned, and to really, yeah, enjoy every bite of it.
Yeah,
So,
I love that because I've heard people, speak about like looking at the train of where it took to get to you and look at it like in an angry or negative light. Like if it's not one person direct from farm to my hand, then like, oh, like actually feel bad about that. But instead turning it around and no matter what, it's just like it's taken a journey and it's a beautiful thing and everyone along it is helping to get that food to me, right? So that you can actually be nourished and enjoy it. And I just think perspective is so important. And just like what we've talked about, what you've mentioned, perspective on why you're doing and this stuff also makes a big difference.
yeah, for sure. And of course, there are a lot of things that could be improved in the way that our food is grown and everything. But I would still say, like, we live in a time where things are more abundant than ever when it comes to fruits and vegetables. And even when I'm at the supermarket and I'm see like the sun is out and the people at the cashier have to put the food over the scanner and everything, I'm still saying thank you that they are doing it so that I can eat the food. But also, like like I feel like if something is truly appreciated and received, then it does actually feel good to give. And I think if we would live in a world where we would just be grateful for so many people who were involved in our food, then they would maybe have a much easier time to do it more out of a place of love. And I'm sure you can relate also, being like a health coach, like being of service to others ultimately really feels good when it's needed. And it doesn't have to be anything special. Even if it is selling fruits at the farmers market, like if it's needed and it's like appreciated by the people, then it's the most wonderful feeling that we can experience, even in the form that it takes right now, I think. So,
I couldn't agree more. One of my favorite movies I mentioned recently with Nick Nolte in it called Way of the Peaceful Warrior.
mm.
And in it, Nick Nolte, he's a monk. Have you seen that movie or read the book?
I've seen The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, but I don't. You mean like the actor is a monk?
Well, he plays a monk. The actor Nick Nolte in the movie, he plays a Buddhist monk who works at a gas station.
Ah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and a young gymnast fellow who wants to improve his game, meets the monk, and stuff happens that leads him to think maybe I could learn from this monk. He does something amazing. All of a sudden he's on the ground, and then all of a sudden he's on a roof. He's like, "How'd you get up there? Like that's impossible to jump up there?" And at one point, though, the reason I brought this thing up, at one point the gymnast gets all mad and is like, "Why am I even learning from you? Like, you're just a stupid old man. Like, you're working at a gas station. Like, you must just be a failure." And he says, "Service is the highest calling." He's like, "I'm in service. I'm helping people get their gas, helping them get to where they want to go, right?" And it didn't matter what type of service, it was service to other people. That's a beautiful thing, and that perspective can shift anyone's life no matter what you're doing. If it's a small little thing, just helping someone across the street, or anything like that, like all those things add up and bring up more happiness and connection. And it's just a beautiful thing. I don't know why I thought of it, but just that spirit of service.
I love that. Yeah, yeah, it's a nice image, and now I remember the scene as well about it. Yeah, it fits perfectly into this. So thanks for sharing.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So with overeating and weight loss, what are, besides what we've kind of talked about, what are some other big things that created a shift in you to make that much more effortless?
You mean other than overeating?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, it can be in relation to that as well, but what are just some big things that you really found helped you to make this a lot more effortless and feel like it's less about discipline?
Mhm. Yeah, one big one was definitely releasing stress
Yeah.
and physical like tension and tightness in the body. And I did that through learning to regulate my nervous system, which happened naturally because I was starting to practice breathing techniques regularly and like guided meditations, and that really helped me to calm my nervous system, even when maybe, because I think a lot of people who struggle with overeating and also weight loss are people who are very sensitive, just in general, highly sensitive to their environment. And for me, that was the case as well. So then, but when I learned to not use food to calm my body down, but to use other things, that was really helpful. So yeah, releasing stress, also creating an environment for me that I feel very safe in. Um, and then another one was also, I always like to say that the problem is most often not the problem.
Yeah.
So it's usually just the tip of the iceberg. And when we have the courage to dive underneath the iceberg and say, hey, what is the actual cause of this? Then we have a much easier time to remove that. Like it will go away automatically. And again, circling back to, okay, what was the actual problem for me? And that was, again, this belief of not feeling good enough. So when I constantly reminded myself, I am good enough, I am worthy of abundance, and I can have all these beautiful things, I can have a lean, attractive physique, I can have the optimal health, and I can eat abundantly, eat my favorite meals, and yeah, have fun in life, then things started falling into place. But it is a consistent practice of reminding yourself and constantly saying, hey, this old belief, it's not true, and I no longer want to identify with it, because otherwise I don't want to experience staying in that reality that will happen if I hold on to the belief. I want a new reality. And what is the belief that I need to feel and embody in order to attract that leaner body, in order to eat till I'm satiated and then stop when I'm full and be okay with doing something else when I'm done eating. So
It sounds like win, win, win all around. It's not like you're really trading hardship for success, but instead, winning in all levels. But I mean, of course, there's going to be hardship at some points and challenge. You mentioned stress reduction. What are some key tips for stress reduction around this kind of aspect?
I think the biggest one at first is to, which sounds harsh, but I think it's necessary to remove yourself, if it's possible, of course, from an environment that is maybe causing you stress. So if that really is your work environment and you do feel like it is causing you so much stress, asking yourself, is it worth it staying in that environment if it's causing me to not maintain my health, which is the most precious thing? I think no amount of money is worth trading for your health. Of course, that is my opinion, but that is what really helped me. And to find and create an environment that I feel very calm and safe in. And yeah, working with the breath is so powerful, I think, because when we breathe calmly and slowly, then we are signalizing our body that it's safe, like everything is good. Versus when we're having a shallow breath or we're breathing very fast, then it can indicate, or our body might think, hey, we're in fight, flight, or freeze mode, we need to run. And in that kind of state, it's not that easy to make a calm and balanced decision around food, versus when we breathe slowly and also when we really feel the inner body, which yoga is something that really helped me, which I'm sure, or I know you love too.
Yeah.
Like feeling the inner body, feeling the hands, the legs, and relaxing the muscles in there. And another really nice one, asking yourself in the moment, is there any problem right now? That's something I learned from Eckhart Tolle. Like, asking, is there any problem right now? We have all these thoughts about our future and all these worries, what might happen, this, that. Is there any problem like right now? Like, okay, you're most likely in a warm and comfortable place right now. You most likely have amazing food in your belly, because we do live in a world where there is food abundantly, at least most people watching this right now probably. Yeah, most likely you also have someone in your life who's really, really close to you. And yeah, counting all the blessings and seeing, hey, everything is good right now. Like there's no need to worry or stress.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, so much of stress is found outside of the present moment, right? And coming
Mm-hmm.
back to that presence and if there is something, if you can probably deal with that one thing, but it's hard to deal with everything in your past and everything in your future and neglect the moment.
Yeah, so true. I
Yeah.
agree.
Who have been some of your biggest influences? You mentioned Eckhart Tolle. Have there been other big influences, say in the realms of nutrition and in like spirituality, deeper connection, these kinds of things?
I love that question. Yeah, when it comes to nutrition, Freely was a big one for me, and you as well.
Mhm.
You are the first like person that I met that really has such a joyful, abundant mentality around food, and who really like shares and shows that. And I felt really like drawn to that kind of relationship that you present on your platforms, and that has always inspired me and was kind of like a vision that I was moving towards through my action. And then along that way, and of course, Doug Graham also was a big inspiration, who I also had the honor to also meet in real life a couple times already, because he's always hanging around on different food festivals, which is so cool, I think.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so I think nutrition wise, like you three were like my biggest ones. And then when it comes to spirituality, Eckhart Tolle helped me a lot. And then there's also a German teacher. She doesn't really call herself a teacher, but she just shares online. Her name is Laura Melina Seiler. And she really helped me to, yeah, also get into breathing techniques and meditation and make that part of my daily routine, which for me has been really, really helpful. Which, yeah, I mean, we're all like life gets in the way
Yeah.
sometimes, and I'm not like super consistent with it.
Mm.
But whenever I do it, it feels so good. And definitely in those times where I do feel like a lot of challenges come up, that's the times where I try to really like incorporate it a lot, because I feel like those are the times where you need it the most.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
yeah.
I love it. I love it all, and honored by the way. And then so that means you got the Banana Girl, the Banana Commander, and Mono Man. Although Doug rarely calls himself Mono Man anymore, but at one point he was Mono Man.
Mono Man.
Yeah, just eat one food at a time, when hungry till full.
Mm.
He had a shirt that said Mono Man, and it was him in lotus position with fruits in an aura around him and through his chakras.
Oh
I still have the
yeah,
shirt. It's a really
I
fun one.
remember that picture.
Yeah,
It's
that's
so
so.
funny that you say that, because literally today I sent out a newsletter with a meme that I created, of like one is a banana palm that just has a small bunch of bananas, and then what others look as many bananas, and then I found a picture with a palm that has it's just overflowing with bananas. What I think of as many bananas, and I truly think like falling in love and becoming best friends with bananas was one of the biggest game changers for me, because they just make me so freaking happy. Like when I
Yeah,
have a big banana smoothie, I'm
yeah,
just on top of the world, and it just it makes me so
yeah.
calm, but still joyful and grateful. And yeah, I don't know where I would be without bananas. So yeah, you two definitely have always spread the message of banana smoothies.
Don't have a cow, go bananas. Yeah, yeah. It's I totally agree. I love bananas. It's one of my favorite go-to meals. Always satisfying. It's great digesting, great elimination, and available year-round, inexpensive. I mean, you don't have to do bananas, but they do make it cheaper and easier for a lot of people for
Yeah.
sure. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where I would be without the bananas myself, although. I have had long periods without them. There are other things, but I just love bananas too.
Mm. Yeah.
If now banking on a question that you actually gave me before in our other talk, if I'm remembering right, I'll admit I've done a lot of talks, so if I'm wrong in this, I apologize. But if you could talk to your younger self when you're first getting into this, what would you want to tell her?
The first one, really like take it easy, take it slow. You have so much time,
Yeah,
and all is good. And then I would also tell her that what she sets her mind to, she can definitely accomplish. Like there's no way she's not to. If she stays consistent
Yeah.
on like having that vision in her head and charging it with a lot of positive energy, with a lot of joy, and then the last one is to always be grateful for like everything you have right now as well, because you already do have so much.
Mm.
So yeah,
I love
those
it.
are.
I love it. Well, I just want to thank you so much for being a part and for this awesome interview and all you're bringing to the bundle. I'm excited to see what you create as well, and it's so awesome to have big dreams and things we want to create and to be joyful in creating it. So I just want to acknowledge that and thank you again. Is there anything you want to leave us with, and any place that people can find you besides your Instagram here at Julia_Sana?
Yeah, I'm not that active on Instagram actually, almost
Yeah,
not, unless it's like bundle time or something special.
yeah,
So my main place is YouTube.
yeah.
So if you want to connect more, definitely come over to YouTube. It's also Julia Sana, and I upload lots of videos over there. So if people want to connect more, then that's the place to find me. Thank you so much, Chris, for giving me the opportunity to share and for asking so many beautiful questions, and yeah, for your time as well right now.
An honor and pleasure for sure. And I'll definitely link your YouTube in the YouTube video as well, and mention it in the notes here too. So thanks again, Julia, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your evening. And as always, thanks everyone here, and make sure you grab the bundle. Go check it out. It's linked in Julia's link in bio. So go over there now, give her a follow if you haven't yet, and check out her YouTube channel as well. But as always, wishing you much peace, love, and seasonal
Bye,
fruit. See ya.
everyone. Bye, Chris.
Bye
See ya.
bye.